All right, so the final thing that we're going to talk about here in this domain is how do we handle access? What kind of structure should we have with that access? And it really is important on what you decide. So let's jump into this and talk about some of these different access control methods and what the deltas are between them. Mandatory access control usually means that the environment is mandated by the corporation and it's completely locked down. So what that means to me is that, if you're trying to be productive on a machine and it's completely locked down, you need to install something on that machine. No can do. You're not going to be able to install anything. You're going to need to have put in a ticket, and then somebody will come over or maybe remotely push and install something for you. So it's mandated by the network to you. You have no control over what you can and can't do. Oftentimes we see this in government machines or government instances where, if you're just a regular user on a government machine, it's pretty much a glorified word processing computer, unless you're an IAT level 2. Whereas discretionary access control means that it's at your discretion. So this is pretty much carte blanche. You can do whatever you want with this. So anything that you create on your computer or within the network, you can control it and give people access through access control list. So usually you can have the CRUD operand. You can create, you can update, and you can delete things because it's at your discretion. And so having that flexibility really comes in handy whenever we're talking about access control on modern day networks. But with that flexibility oftentimes comes abuse, and people will install things that they shouldn't be installing on their networks. So those two are fairly popular and completely different, right? Whereas the role-based access control, usually you'll have this where it's somewhere where it's high turnover, like a help desk or car dealership or something like that, where people are coming in, or not people, but workers are coming in and out. They're quitting. They're getting hired, getting fired, whatever. We'll create a role for that person, a predefined role, and then basically when that user is created, we assign the role to that user. So it works very well, and typically it's used in high turnover situations. Whereas a rule-based access control, typically we see this in firewalls. So rule-based access control typically means if then else, and usually we associate rule-based access control with an access control list. So everything's kind of hopefully starting to come together for you here. We're starting to see a lot of these words over again. We see the ACLs, right? And then lastly here, a newer type of access control is locked down on down to the attribute of something in Active Directory. So it's super granular and can be very specific with the attribute-based access control. So these are the 5 types of access control that you will see on your exam. If I was a betting man, I would be willing to bet that it's very likely you will see one of these 4 at least 3 to 5 times on your exam. So go through, make sure you understand these, and if not, ask some questions, and I'll be sure to try to answer them the best that I can.